Hey guys, London Blue here. Going to do my buy, keep and sell for the coming season with the current Chelsea squad. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's make a start. So, Sharman Lowe. It'd be interesting to see what happens really. I would imagine that he could end up staying around just because of needing a third choice keeper. I think Jorgensen is going to go. So for now, I would say that Sharman Lowe will likely stay as a third choice for the season. Yeah. Quickly moving on, we've got Sanchez. So Sanchez is a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Because with all credit where it's due, he wasn't that bad last season. He wasn't great, but he wasn't that bad. I don't think you can blame him for a lot last season. Of course, he doesn't field a defence with confidence, but as I mentioned on the previous video, Rossini and Maresca did have a habit of playing through Sanchez. I don't think we should do that. He kind of became a get out of jail and he's not good enough to deal with that pressure. However, that being said, Penders is young. He's going to be joining late pre-season, obviously after being away with Belgium. So I think it's very likely that Sanchez will stay. And I would probably keep him around as well, because bringing in a new expensive keeper is only going to block Penders. And everything you hear about Penders is, he's meant to be very, very special. So yeah, I would keep Sanchez, Sharman Lowe. Penders is an iffy one. I think there's a risk loaning him out again. I think what happened with Courtois, he made home in Madrid. It became his place. I think he met his missus there. I think he might have even started a family there. Might be wrong, but I think that could have happened. Yeah, for me, there's a bit of a risk of him finding home in France and getting settled, and before you know it, PSG need a keeper soon. They haven't got the best options at the moment. Maybe Penders ends up there. So I think it's better to keep him around this year and let him and Sanchez go for it. But yeah, I would keep him in the current circumstances. Jorgensen, sell. He wants to go. I think he's nearly gone. From what I understand, actually, I think he might be off to Strasbourg. So, but yeah, I think another one. He's never ever given us confidence. He had moments. I mean, weirdly, that PSG game, he started so well with playing it out from the back, but then he just overdone it. And the claps and how many goals actually go through him, as in like physically puts his hand there and it just bounces in. Yeah, I think it's been an absolute nightmare signing that. So I think that's an easy sell. Colwill, don't need to talk too much about him. It's the easiest keep. He really has started to show the hype that was around him. Obviously, the injury last season was a bit of a guttener. I mean, the knock-on effects of that, actually, it completely ruined our season. The issues with Maresca clearly started then when we didn't get in a solid replacement. And the back end of the previous season under Maresca, he was so key in us getting that top four finish. He really has leadership qualities. I do think he is the next Chelsea captain. I think it would be a wise move to put him as vice captain this season, actually. I think that's one of the musts. So yeah, easy keep. Tosin's one I struggle with just for the fact he is meant to be good around the place, but if we are bringing in Henderson and Welbeck, I think we have enough of these good around the place people. From my understanding, there was a bit of a knock-on effect of Marcus Bettinelli leaving. I think he was a good character and it wasn't well received him leaving. However, I personally would sell Tosin. He's not good enough. Seems like a good character. Likes his sport collectibles, card collectibles, which I'm a big fan of, but that's not a reason to keep him at Chelsea, obviously. Yeah, I think good character, but I don't see him being a player who gets many minutes, and I don't think keeping him around for the sake of it, especially if we're going to have Hendersons, people like that, I think it's safe to say he can move on. And then we have Mamadou Sarr, who I think we'll probably go on loan. I'm not sure there'd be a market for buyers for him. He does have a good rating. I think people are keen on him. I think there's a bit of a talent there. But we messed him around last season. I mean, to bring him back from Strasbourg and to hardly use him when he did play, he looked a little bit out of his depth, unfortunately, against PSG. Yeah, I think a loan's probably the best option. I don't see them selling him, but you never know. It could be one of them ones where they sell him back to Strasbourg. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that was bizarre what they done. But yeah, I think loan, but he could easily end up being sold. I think the same goes for Anselmino. They completely messed him around last year. I feel sorry for the kid. But yeah, I would loan them out. They're young. There's potential. When you look at our centre backs at the moment, Lacroix's coming in. Obviously, Colwill. James maybe plays right at the back three, but there's no guarantee or certs. I think it's still a position where Cole, God forbid, could get another injury. James could get an injury. Fofana probably will get an injury. So these young centre backs could be worth just keeping on the books because you never know, you might need them come January. So yeah, worth loaning. Achapong, I would definitely loan Achapong. I think he's been messed around way too much. He needs minutes. Maresca claimed to love him. Rosignol raved about him, but none of them trusted him enough to really give him a chance. I mean, McFarlane came in, who is supposed to be one of the academy guys. He's worked with all these under-21s, etc. He didn't really give him a look in. So I think Josh needs to go out and get some minutes because he's rated highly, but I don't think we've seen enough of him. When he has played, he's done good. He's done okay. But I mean, his career's sort of a bit stale at the moment. I think a loan move would be great for him, especially a Prem loan move. Just let him get a season under his belt and see what he's really about and if he can cut it. So yeah, Hatto for me is a keep. I'm a bit worried about rumours about him potentially even, but he's for me a keep. He was our best player towards the back end of last season. I think of the left of the back three, I think he'd be very, very, very good there. Be interesting though. Obviously, Lacroix coming in. There were links with John Stones. I do wonder, will they go for another centre back? But I really do hope that. I hope we keep Hatto. I like him. Could he play left wing back? I'm not sure, but yeah, be interesting to see what happens. Next up, keep is obviously Reece James. I mean, we don't need to talk too much about him. He signed his new contract. I think, yeah, obviously we'll be hoping for a better season injury-wise. I think he'll be hoping for that. He'll be coming back late from the World Cup. I think we'll likely see him as the right of a back three if that's what Alonso's going to go for. I don't see a world where he plays as a right wing back, especially after signing Palestri. So yeah, I think James is an easy keep. Don't need to get too into it. Fofana, I would sell Fofana. I loved the signing. I thought it was a great signing. Pricey, but good. But injury record, off the field antics. When he has played, I mean, I know he's rusty, but he has been terrible. I think there are definitely some discipline issues there that I don't need to get too into. But if there were some takers, I would sell him. I know he's on a big, big wage. I think he was one of the original signings on the Bowley, so I think getting him off the books would be good. But I just don't see a market for him. I don't see a world where someone takes a risk on him. He could go on loan, but for me, if there was someone willing to buy him, please. So next up in the defenders, we have Benoit Badiashile. I think obviously it's a sell. It just hasn't worked. Super frustrating though, because it was quite apparent that there was a time when we were singing songs about him and, what was it? Bowley went to France in his Lamborghini, brought us back a centre-back, Benoit Badiashile, obviously, we're all saying his name wrong. But yeah, it just hasn't worked. Injuries, when he has played, he flip-flops. He can look good, but yeah, he's not. I don't think he is an Alonso player. I don't see him getting back in. I think there's a lot of competition. I think if we can get money for him, probably end up back in France. It wouldn't surprise me, or Italy or somewhere. But yeah, I would sell, obviously. So yeah, I think that's it from defenders. Obviously, the Sassy, he's not in the squad. There's rumours that we want to keep him. He's not on the club's website, so interesting to see what happens there. I would imagine they're going to sell him. I know there were rumours of Palace, but again, this 45-day thing where if you sell him, it counts as a player trade. So I can't see them doing that because we need money in. So I'd imagine the Sassy will probably go late in the window to maybe a Prem team. He done okay at West Ham. Maybe one of them lower teams will take a risk on him, an Ipswich or even a Forest maybe. I know they're being linked with Diamonde, but that'd be interesting. Gusto. Malo Gusto. There are rumours about him going to City for 80 million. For that kind of money, I would sell him. There's a few variables here. So obviously, if we were to sell Gusto, I probably would keep Achapong because I think he could do a job at right wing back, although I know he's a more central sort of right player. I do think there's others in the squad who I mentioned could do that right wing back role. I don't think Gusto's a right wing back because he's not good enough in the final third. The last season defensively, even he's worrying. I think Maresca's kind of killed him, which is bizarre that he's being linked with Man City because Maresca put him as this sort of inverted midfielder. He's not. I mean, Gusto reminded me of Azpilicueta. His one-on-one defending was good. He'd done okay going forward, but he was fit. He was up and down. He was tenacious. And that player's sort of gone now. I have a feeling he could go. Again, it's one we could get money in for. It would be a shame because there's definitely a good defender there. I think for Alonso and this system he wants to play, which we all think he's going to play, I think Gusto is definitely not a right wing back. I mean, he just lacks that quality in the final third. So I would sell, especially for the money you're talking about. I mean, 60 million plus would be crazy. I'd take 40 plus. I think, yeah, if there's a market for him, I think we take it. So I think that's it with regards to defenders now. Next up, let's go for... no, sorry, how can I forget Trev? I think it's pretty obvious. Trev's gone. Trev's going, isn't he? I kind of agree with it. He's been fantastic for us, and he's an academy boy, and you can't knock him, but I think there's levels, and I think he's not at that top level. I think we've made an improvement bringing in Lacroix to the squad. I think Cole will fit, James. I think I can definitely see them buying another. I think Hatto was probably going to be left of a back three again, potentially Achapong, although I would loan Achapong. So yeah, I do think Chaloba's days are done. It's pure profit, as they like to say, but he's been fantastic for us, and I think he goes with all Chelsea fans' blessings. It'd be interesting, though, to see how it goes with our defence as he's come to the rescue the last couple of seasons for us. He's kind of been frozen out on multiple occasions and come back in and ended up being our main guy. So you will miss having that kind of person to call upon. We actually don't have that in the squad currently, so it'd be interesting to see if we do go out and get another centre-back. Next up, we have Asugo. I would actually keep Asugo this year. I know Henderson's meant to be coming in and obviously he's going to be covering stuff, but Asugo I know he hasn't played a lot, but when you see him, he looks very much like Caicedo the way he plays. And I know you don't want to sort of put him in that bracket, but I would keep him. I think obviously he had a bad injury last season. That was unfortunate. If he's happy to be in the squad, I would keep him. Last year we really lacked in midfield. Obviously Santos is gone. I think the next man I'm going to talk about is going to go. I would keep Asugo. He's young. He needs to get some minutes under his belt. Obviously, things can change if we bring some players in, but I would keep Asugo. And yeah, next guy up, get out of my club. Yeah. I'm not a fan of players who come out and so obviously want to leave and don't want to be there. He's a vice captain. Come out and said it during the season when we were going for a bit of a shitter, when we kind of needed our leaders. Got his ban. Weirdly, he got banned for that, but he didn't get banned for singing them racist songs in the summer. Them supposedly racist songs was the French players. I don't know too much about that, but weird that we didn't really sanction him then. But we gave him a 2-game ban for saying he wants to leave the club. But either way, yeah, he wants out. I think he's one of the few players where we can get 100 million plus. I think his days are done. I think there's a lot of PR work that needs to be done. I don't think he's worth the hassle. Listen, anything over 80 million, I think it's great business. As much as he has shown up and he has been good for us, like you can't knock him, his work rate, his tenacity, his goals, his big moments, he's been really, really good. But there's a lot of moments where he isn't, where you don't even know he's playing. He's sort of in and out. Don't get me wrong, he's improved massively, and in moments he could be one of the top midfielders. But let's look at the money spent. When you compare him to Declan Rice, you take Declan Rice all day. Caicedo, I'd probably take Caicedo ahead of him all day. He isn't a £100 million midfielder. His game's a little bit limited. However, he has become that box crasher, and in the moment you can't knock the big moments. But I would like to think now with the squad we're building, there's other players who can do that and add these moments and goals. I mean, you expect Palmer to be better this year. Rodgers, you expect to put in some big moments and numbers. So I think, for me, I would be happy to see the back of Enzo. I think the bridge is burnt now. Um, Lavia. Lavia. I mean, you keep him because no one's going to buy or loan him, are they? In what world does anyone pay or give him, pay for him or give him a salary? So I think you'd be kept by default. I would probably keep him, but supposedly there's a player there. Everyone raves about him, but I don't know how anyone knows because, I mean, that's an interesting thing. Reggie Watson was 13 when Chelsea signed Lavia. And Reggie Watson completed 90 minutes before Lavia in that friendly on Monday. And yeah, I always feel bad knocking players for injuries because it's not their fault. Like, injuries seem to be unlucky. I mean, obviously, you don't know what they do. You think this day and age they are all professionals and athletes and they do take care of themselves. Obviously, if they're neglecting their body, then maybe that's why they're getting injuries. But I don't believe that's the case with him. I think he's very unlucky, so I don't like to knock him too much. But availability is the best ability, and he's lacking that. Now, Caicedo is an obvious keep. I think it's a big season for Caicedo. He was very disappointing towards the end of last season. I think the Arsenal game this season peaked, dropped off massively. It massively got in his head that game about him being the best midfielder in the world, and he was so pumped up from the first minute. And I mean, after that season plateaued. I mean, it was hard to see. It's a big season for him because he hasn't actually consistently done it for us. He's had a few months here, a few months there where he's been top. He had a dodgy start, then came good, started good, went off a bit. So he really needs to turn up this year and, show what he's about. Get back to that Caicedo we all know, but obvious keep. Gittins. I would loan Gittins. I think with the quality of players we're bringing in, with the depth and in the squad, I know he's supposedly had a decent start to pre-season, but come on, the opposition. Yeah, I think he needs a loan just to get some confidence back. He doesn't look confident. He seems like such a nice lad, so I feel bad for him, but obviously injuries again. But at his age, he needs to be playing, and it's pretty obvious that Rodgers is the starter. I think Neto, Esteval, players like that, if they're still around or not injured, they're probably getting minutes ahead of him. So I do think Gittins needs to go. Next up, we have Giovanni Quenda, who is likely going to be in competition with Gittins, and it's probably another reason why I think Gittins needs to get out on loan, because I don't see them loaning Quenda or moving him anywhere. Obviously, he's just come in. A lot of hype around this young man. And yeah, I'm really interested to see how his season goes. I think he could end up with a lot of minutes because from what I can see, he can play left wing back, right wing back, left forward, right forward. I think he's going to give us plenty of options, and that's exactly why I think Alonso would keep him around. So yeah, I think that's a easy keep. Palmer, nothing needs to be said there. I mean, come on, we all know Cole's quality. Obviously, had a bad season last season, but yeah, just not even worth getting into conversation. He is the main man, and I can't wait to see him under Alonso, and especially after not making it in the England squad, which was a joke. Ridiculous, but anyway, it's Chelsea's gain. I think he's going to be up for it this season, along with João Pedro, who obviously should also be fired up for not making the World Cup, along with some others. But anyway, Neto, I think I would sell Neto. Controversial one, maybe. I'm not sure many match-going fans will disagree. I think he is in and out. he is hot and cold. The biggest concern I had with Neto when we signed him was availability. He's been available quite a lot, actually. His injury record seems to have gone, but he's never, ever got that consistency. He can do nothing for 80 minutes, then he can have 5 minutes of brilliance and then do nothing again for another 3 or 4 games. So frustrating. I do think he's a little bit limited. The only thing similar to Quenda, I do genuinely believe he could play right wing back, left wing back, right forward, left forward. He's played false nine, although I don't see a need for that this year. He could play maybe as two of the tens behind as potential striker. However, I do think there's an opportunity to get some money for him. I wouldn't like him to go to another Prem team because there's always that risk. However, if Barcelona came knocking or something like that, I think we should be open to that. I would be open to that. I think Esteval, Palmer, Rogers, Quenda, maybe another are going to be busy with them roles. I think Welbeck's obviously going to be another option going forward. So I would actually sell Neto this year. So next up we have Mark Guy. I think that's an obvious sell. I think if they can get money for him, hasn't really been. It's been a weird move, hasn't it? I just don't really understand it. I think it was cheap from Barcelona, but I think he was definitely one brought in just to try and flip for a profit. Pretty sure we got him for like €6 million, so I'm pretty sure they're confident they'll get more than that. You'd like to think in this market, so I'd imagine he could go. If not, they'll just chuck him over to Strasbourg. Let's start with an easy one. Estefao, keep. Big season for him. Hopefully he can put that hamstring injury behind him. There's always concerns that these reoccur. It's quite common. Happens quite often. So yeah, obviously excited to see how the season pans out under Alonso with him. He was a bit inconsistent last year, and obviously injuries didn't help. You kind of expect that with a young lad coming over, but he definitely impressed and showed the quality, and you can understand the hype. So yeah, very excited for the season ahead with Estival. Next up, Liam Delap. I would personally loan Liam, just because you'd hate to see him leave and go on to do something. I think, all the clubs that were linked to him and wanted him, there's obviously, he's not an idiot. However, he has not been good for us. He has been bad, really bad, and a bit brain dead. He has a lot to learn. Going from Ipswich to Chelsea, it was a big jump. But yeah, I would loan him personally. I think it's likely to sell him because they get money for him, and I don't think he's an Alonso player. But personally, I would just loan him because I hate the idea of him going somewhere, becoming the player that we all thought he could be. But then you can think that with every player you sell, I guess. So yeah. But anyway, for me personally, would loan. João Pedro, not even a conversation. Obviously links to Barcelona, but we'd like Yamin. They'd like João Pedro. Both things aren't going to happen. He is our main man. I think he's up there with Palmer now. Obviously got a good start to pre-season. Again, poor opposition, but again, you expect him to have a bit of a buzz, especially after not being in the Brazil squad. So hopefully he's well rested. Jackson, easy for me. Sell. I think he's got to go. I remember last season when Delap got injured and he refused to get on the plane back. I think he fell out with Maresca, but Chelsea needed him and he said, nah, see you later. Didn't quite work out at Munich. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I was hoping he'd go Villa, but obviously this 45-day rule means unlikely. Maybe a loan with a sell, although I don't know if we can because we've already got a loan player there. Can we loan 2 players to a club in the Prem? Not sure. But I'd sell Jackson. Discipline issues, inconsistent. I liked him. I still think he's a good player. But he's the same player who refused to come back when he was asked last year. And he's the same player who has some discipline issues. We had a lot of discipline issues last year. So I think adding him to the mix won't be any good. He's someone who can definitely down tools, throw a strop. Yeah. On to Omega. Feel sorry for the guy. He's done his hamstring, so I think he's going to stay around. But there's already rumours of him leaving, which is bizarre. I think he was signed thinking we were going to be in Europe for that squad depth, but I don't see him getting many minutes. I know he can play wide left, and he looks an okay player. Obviously, me being based in Amsterdam, I'd love to see him around. I like having Dutch players at Chelsea. Obviously, a bit of an association to living here and then seeing them play. But I think if it was me, I'd probably loan him out because I just don't see where he plays. Yeah, I think he probably was brought under here in false pretenses. And obviously, lastly there, Rodgers, not discussion. Mudryk. What do we do about Mudryk, hey? I mean, that's a conversation for another day, but if he does come back, I think it's pretty obvious where he goes. But yeah, that's it. That's my opinions. Obviously, this will change. I think transfers, etc. That is my sell, loan, keep of Chelsea's current squad. Interested to hear your thoughts. Give them to me in the comments.